e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, bishop c5. Bishop can be developed at e7 as well, and that is more a defensive approach, because bishop on e7 would be a great defender of the king. After bishop c5, c3, knight f6, developing and attacking e4, d4, putting a pawn in the center and attacking a bishop. If bishop d6, guarding a pawn, that is a little bit clumsy, blocking this pawn, and on bishop b6, takes, and bishop f7, takes, queen d5 check, regaining the piece. White can play queen d5 here as well, threatening mate and attacking a piece. So that's why takes, and bishop b4 check. If bishop b6, black can get crushed in something like this, d4, e5. Both knights go home, castle, knight e7, d6, and now knight g5, attacking f7. After castles, there comes queen h5, threatening mate, h6, queen g6. There's a pin. After takes, and queen e8, we have bishop f6, taking advantage of two pins. Beautiful final position. So bishop b4 is much better, forcing white to defend against the check. Knight c3, white is inviting black to take a pawn on e4. If white wants to avoid losing a pawn, he can play bishop d2, takes. But after knight c3, black did not accept the pawn sacrifice, castle. But chess is not for timid souls. Black should have accepted this pawn sacrifice, because the center pawn is very valuable. But now after castle, d5, pushing the knight back, also preventing d5, knight e7. On knight a5, bishop would just go back and the knight is stranded at the side of the board. So knight e7 and now e5, attacking the other knight. Knight e4, black doesn't want to go back with the knight. Queen c2, protecting and attacking a knight. Takes. This is forced. Black cannot play f5 because of d6, losing the knight. So takes. Now white has a b file for the rook and new diagonal for the bishop. Bishop c5, knight g5, threatening mate, knight g6. If f5, again we have d6, winning a knight, and on g6 we have knight e4, attacking a bishop, and after bishop b6, bishop h6, rook e8 and knight f6, wins the exchange. After knight g6, black's position is not good, but white cannot waste any time by playing castling, for example, because black will solidify with d6 or h6. So white has to attack, h4, threatening h5 and mate on h7 after the knight moves. h6, trying to drive off dangerous knight. He cannot play f6 because of d6, king h8 and knight f7, winning the exchange. After h6, we have d6, cutting off this bishop but opening up this bishop. White is now threatening queen g6. After takes, h-file is open for the rook and knight is not going anywhere because of the mate threat on h7. Rook e8, the king needs more room. Queen g6, regaining the piece and threatening all sorts of mates. Rook takes, king f1. Big mistake would be king d2 because takes and white has nothing. So instead, king f1, black resigned. He can avoid one mate and also threaten one himself, but he cannot avoid another.